Lisa, the NFL MVP.
Adrian Peterson, one of the most vicious, violent, powerful, dynamic running backs in the NFL. But a lot has happened in his life. The recent tragic death of a son he barely knew. And what we found out was that there were a lot of personal tragic losses that had occurred in his life that really fueled him and motivated him to be the person and the player that he is. So, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Maintaining.
What's the last 10 days been like for you?
It's been tough, but, I'm a strong individual. Have a great supporting cast, a true fan base who care about me and, who's been sensitive to, what I've been dealing with the past week.
What 28-year-old Vikings running back Adrian Peterson has been dealing with is the death of his 2-year-old son, a son he didn't know he had until this past August while he was in training camp.
It was unexpected. Kind of got blindsided and, just accepting it for what it was and moving forward. And then, a month and a half later, I get that phone call and, I still haven't been able to wrap my head around it.
You did get to see your son, though, right?
That's the unfortunate part. Pictures, I had opportunities to talk with his mother, but, it was like a month and a half in season. We was arranging to get him down so I can see him.
Week 4, September 29th, London. Adrian Peterson runs for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Vikings beat the Steelers for their first win of the season. 10 days later, October 9th, according to a Sioux Falls, South Dakota police report, a 27-year-old man, Joseph Patterson, allegedly assaulted Peterson's 2-year-old son, Tyrese Robert Ruffin. Patterson has been charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter. He was reportedly living with the child's mother. The following day, Peterson rushed to the hospital in South Dakota to see his son.
I was able to see him then, and that was my first time, so, that's something that I have to live with for the rest of my life. The first time seeing my son, he was gone, basically.
Can you tell me what you said to the little man?
I just said I was sorry. Didn't quite know at the time what I was sorry for, but I told him that I loved him, and I miss him. I'm going to miss him, and I just kept telling him that I was sorry, Daddy was sorry.
The next day, Friday, October 11th, Peterson's son died from his injuries.
I'll ask y'all to please just respect my privacy and not ask at all about the situation at hand. Thanks, appreciate it.
2 days later, Peterson decided to play against the Carolina Panthers.
It was tough. I just prayed, just give me the strength to get through, and I was able to get through.
The following week, media reports speculated that Peterson had as many as 7 children.
It's been a tough time for me and my family. People, what they would say, want to kick you when you appear to be down.
Peterson has 2 children who live with him and his fiancée, but he won't say how many children he has in total.
I know the truth. I'm comfortable with that knowledge, things like that.
But it's got to hurt.
Not really. It really don't hurt because I try to avoid it. I'm able to, be strong, still, walk around with a smile on my face.
His fans call him all day, but they have no idea how long the reigning NFL MVP's days have been. At every step, from Pop Warner to high school to college to the NFL, Adrian Peterson has endured a lifetime of loss.
I try not to ask why, I just ask God to, give me the strength to carry on.
Peterson was physically gifted from the beginning. His mother, Bonita Jackson, was a track star at the University of Houston. His father, Nelson Peterson, was a basketball star at Idaho State.
I used to hang him on a doorway and just leave him on the doorway and tell him just to hold on, don't let go. I'll walk through the house, come back 2 minutes, he'd still be holding on.
Adrian split his time between his mother and father, who never married but remained friendly. It was here on these Palestine, Texas football fields that his father taught Adrian about football, at the age of 6, instilling the physical style he's now known for.
I took him to a football field with his pads on. I had another kid with his pads on. And I had Adrian just stand there with the football in his hand and tuck his chin and had the kid just run at him for about 5 yards back and just leveled him. The next time I said, we're gonna meet force with force.
At the time, Adrian's best friend was his half-brother Brian, who was 11 months older.
Me and my brother, we was like this, did everything together. You know, I used to just beat him up. I used to fight him because I could never beat him running.
They were like two peas in a pod. They rode bicycles together, they played football together, they ran track together. I mean, everything they did together.
In 1993, when Brian was 9 and Adrian was 8, what started out as a regular day playing outside their apartment building suddenly changed.
They was riding bikes. I just remember, you know, playing football with the guys, and it was like, I don't know. It happened so fast.
Brian was struck by a drunk driver. Adrian was just a few feet away.
His head slammed and hit, and his head's like immediately swelled up. And I remember running over to him, falling down on my knees, and you know, picking him up by his head. You know, I was calling his name, Brian, and, you know, calling his name repeatedly. He wasn't responding at all.
Brian spent a week in a coma before the family made the decision to discontinue life support. The drunk driver was convicted of manslaughter.
I ponder about, what if Brian was here, what would you do?
It was football that helped Adrian recover from Brian's death. Over the next few years, he emerged as a star with the help of his father, who often helped coach him. But in 1998, when Adrian was 13, that changed.
His daddy had been arrested, you know, and that was another blow for him, you know. It's like everything happening, you know, in life to this little young kid.
Adrian's father pled guilty to laundering drug money and was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison in Texarkana, 4 hours away from his son.
Losing my dad, it was tough. You know, I was already struggling with, you know, losing my brother. You know, that was a hard time for me.
5 years later, by his senior year, Adrian was the #1 ranked high school player in the country. Adrian went on to star at Oklahoma. As a freshman in 2004, he finished second in the Heisman voting. And when Adrian was a junior, his father, after serving 8 years in prison, was released and finally able to attend one of his son's games.
I'm able to look back, you know, and see him now. You know, it's just that warm feeling, just that good feeling that, man, you know, hey, that my pops watching me, let's go to work.
Peterson suffered a broken collarbone during his junior season. As he prepared for the 2007 NFL Combine, some scouts labeled him injury-prone. Then, days before the Combine, he received an encouraging call from his 19-year-old stepbrother, Chris.
He was pumped up, excited for me, because the opportunity was finally here. You know, telling me good luck, you know, represent for, you know, back home here in Palestine, you know, do your thing.
The morning of the 2007 Combine, Peterson got a phone call from a family friend.
He was like, Chris got shot last night, you know, in Houston, Texas.
His stepbrother had been carjacked, shot, and killed. Adrian decided to go through with the Combine and ran a 4.3840, the second fastest time among all running backs.
With the 7th pick in the 2007 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Adrian Peterson, running back, Oklahoma.
In his first 4 seasons in the NFL, Peterson rushed for more than 5,700 yards and 54 touchdowns.
Peterson is gone!
In 2011, the Vikings rewarded Peterson with a $100 million contract, the highest ever for a running back. December 24th, 2011. Minnesota was at Washington.
Handoff, Adrian sprints up the middle, upended at the 15, and Adrian Peterson is down, and he is writhing in pain right now.
I felt like 2 pops, and immediately I knew something was wrong. And I'm just like, no one touched me, no one touched me.
Peterson had torn the ACL and MCL in his left knee. He was expected to be out for a year. On December 30th, 2011, Peterson had surgery and immediately started rehab.
The toughest part about the rehab, just dealing with the pain. It was horrible. It was pain that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
3.
I knew that by the body of work that I had put in, that something special could happen.
Something special did happen. Just 9 months later, Peterson was on the field for Week 1 of the 2012 season.
A couple of TDs today for Adrian Peterson. I'd say that ACL's okay.
You know what people think, right?
Yeah.
What do they think?
You must have took something, you're juicing or something. It's a compliment.
So, did you use steroids to come back?
Not at all.
Did you ever consider it?
No, it wasn't even a thought.
In 2012, Peterson had a season for the ages. He rushed for 2,097 yards.
8 yards shy of Eric Dickerson's single-season mark.
Peterson carried the Vikings to the playoffs and was named the 2012 NFL MVP.
Here comes Adrian Peterson, his first carry.
Now in his 7th NFL season, Adrian Peterson carries more than just a football.
And he's loose!
He also carries with him all the loss he has endured.
Welcome back, MVP!
You've been through so much. You lost your brother, your father is in prison, you lost your stepbrother, now you've lost your son.
I try not to ask why,
It's been a lot of loss for you, Adrian.
It has.
More than most people.
Yeah, but I focus on the positive things, and try to make the best. I use things to motivate me.